Have you ever bet everything on a single moment? I'm talking about putting your entire future on the line for one chance to shine. Today, we're diving into one of the most nerve-wracking high-stakes auditions in America's Got Talent history. This isn't just a story about a performance. It's about a band that walked onto the world's biggest stage and decided to gamble it all on an original song. A song no one had ever heard. The silence in that auditorium before the first note was deafening. You could feel the weight of every dream, every doubt, and every sacrifice hanging in the air. What happened next? Stick around, because you won't believe the journey. So, picture this. The lights are blazing, millions are watching at home, and 4 of the toughest judges in show business are staring you down. Simon Cowell, Howie Mandel, Heidi Klum, and Sofia Vergara. They've seen it all. For most contestants, this is the time to play it safe. You sing a classic, a beloved hit that everyone knows and loves. It's a proven formula for a reason. But this band, they walked out there with a different plan. When the judges asked what they'd be performing, the lead singer took a deep breath and said, "It's an original song, it's called." And in that moment, you could almost hear a collective gasp from the audience. An original song on AGT is the ultimate gamble. It's like showing up to a high-stakes poker game and going all in before Juve. Even senior cards. The judges' faces instantly changed. The smiles tightened. The skepticism crept in. Simon Cowell, in particular, looked less than impressed. You know that look he gets? The one that says, "This better be the best thing I've ever heard, or you're wasting my time." The pressure in the room skyrocketed. The band members exchanged nervous glances. They knew the risk. They knew that if the song didn't connect, if the audience didn't feel it in the first 30 seconds, their dream could be over right then and there. The lead singer steps up to the mic. The drummer clicks his sticks together. A single guitar chord rings out, cutting through the thick, tense silence. It's a clean, simple sound, but it's filled with a raw, nervous energy. The singer's voice comes in, and it's not a powerhouse belt. It's something different. It's vulnerable, a little shaky at first, but filled with an undeniable honesty. He's not just singing lyrics, he's telling a story. His story. A story of struggle, of hope, of refusing to give up even when the world tells you to. The camera pans to the audience. People are leaning forward, their expressions unreadable. They're listening, but are they feeling it? The first verse ends, and the song shifts. The tempo picks up, the drummer kicks in with a driving beat, the bass line locks in, and suddenly, the song transforms from a quiet confession into a powerful anthem. The energy on stage is electric. The band is no longer just playing notes. They're pouring every ounce of their passion into their instruments. The lead singer's voice grows stronger, more confident. The initial vulnerability is still there, but now it's backed by a fierce determination. He's not just singing for the judges anymore. He's singing for everyone in that room who's ever felt like an underdog. Now, let's talk about the judges. Heidi and Sofia are captivated. They're nodding along, their faces soft with empathy. They're connecting with the emotion of the song. Howie Mandel is watching intently, his usual comedic persona gone, replaced by a look of genuine curiosity and respect. But the one everyone is watching is Simon Cowell. His face is a stone mask. He hasn't moved a muscle. He's just staring, listening, analyzing every single note, every lyric. Ise ating it, ise loving it. It's impossible to tell. This is the man whose opinion can make or break a career, and his silence is more terrifying than any critique. The song reaches its climax, the musical bridge. This is the make-or-break moment. The band unleashes everything they have. The guitarist plays a soaring solo that's not about technical flash, but pure, unadulterated feeling. The drums are thunderous, the bass is a heartbeat, and the singer's voice cries out with a raw power that sends shivers down your spine. The lyrics are about pushing through darkness, about finding light when there seems to be none. And in that moment, something magical happens. The audience gets it. You start to see heads nodding, not just to the beat, but an understanding. You see people's eyes welling up. The song has broken through the skepticism and found its way into their hearts. As the final chord rings out and fades into the vastness of the auditorium, There's a split second of absolute silence. It's the kind of silence that's so full, it's louder than any noise. The band stands there, breathless, chests heaving, having left everything on that stage. They look out at the sea of faces. Their own face is a mixture of hope and fear. And then it happens. One person starts to clap. Then another. And another. Within seconds, the entire auditorium erupts. The audience is on its feet. A roaring wave of applause and cheers washing over the stage. It's not just polite clapping. It's a genuine, emotional ovation. They didn't just hear a song. They experienced it. The band members are overwhelmed. Tears are streaming down the lead singer's face as he tries to catch his breath. They look at each other, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. We did it. They took the biggest risk of their lives, and it paid off in the most incredible way. The camera cuts back to the judges, who are also on their feet, clapping. Even Simon. He has a small, almost imperceptible smile on his face. The kind of smile that says, "You surprised me." The applause finally dies down, and it's time for the verdict. Howie Mandel is the first to speak. He's visibly moved. He talks about the courage it took to perform an original, and how the song's honesty and raw emotion completely won him over. He says it felt real, and in a world of manufactured pop, real is everything. Sofia Vergara is next, and she's practically glowing. She talks about the passion, the energy, and how the performance gave her good. Heidi Klum echoes their sentiments, praising the songwriting and the powerful connection they made with everyone in the room. 3 yeses. Their dream is still alive, but one opinion still hangs in the air. All eyes turn to Simon Cowell. He leans into his microphone, and the room falls silent once again. "When you came out," he begins, his voice slow and deliberate, "and said you were singing an original song, I honestly thought, here we go again. 9 times out of 10, it's a disaster." The band members brace themselves. He continues, "It's a terrible, terrible idea to sing an original song on this show, unless it's a great song." He pauses, letting the tension build. "And that," he says, looking directly at the lead singer, "was a great song. It was more than great. It was brilliant." A wave of relief washes over the band. Simon goes on to praise the lyrics, the melody, and the sheer authenticity of the performance. He calls them the sound of now and tells them they have a real shot at winning the entire competition. "It's for yeses," he declares, and the crowd erupts once more. This story is more than just a successful audition. It's a powerful lesson in authenticity and courage, in a world that often encourages us to conform, to follow the trends, and to play it safe. This band reminded us of the incredible power of being true to yourself. They could have chosen an easy path, but they chose their path. They shared a piece of their soul with the world, and the world responded. It's a reminder that sometimes the biggest risks lead to the biggest rewards, and that the most powerful voice you have is your own. So, what do you think? Was it the bravest audition you've ever seen? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories. See you next time. Have you ever watched a performance so powerful it felt like the world stopped for a moment? A performance that grabs you, shakes you to your core, and leaves you speechless. Today, we're diving into one of those rare, unforgettable moments in music history. This isn't just about a talent show audition. It's about a story, a struggle, and a triumph that unfolded live on stage, captivating millions. We're talking about a band that walked onto a massive stage, not with arrogance, but with a quiet humility that made everyone lean in a little closer. They looked like everyday people, the kind you might pass on the street. But when they started to play, everything changed. This is the story of a group of friends who poured years of their lives, their hopes, and their heartaches into their music. They weren't an overnight success. They played in empty bars, slept in their van, and faced rejection after rejection. There were times they almost gave up, when the dream felt too far away, too impossible. But something kept them going, a shared belief in the power of their songs, and a bond that was stronger than any setback. Their journey to that talent show stage was a testament to their resilience. It was their one last shot, their final roll of the dice. And as they stood there, under the glare of the studio lights, you could see the weight of that journey in their eyes. The lead singer stepped up to the microphone. He didn't start with a flashy introduction. He just took a deep breath and quietly said, "This song is for anyone who's ever felt lost. It's for anyone who's ever been told they're not good enough. This is our story." And then the music began. It started with a single, haunting guitar riff. It was simple, yet it carried so much emotion. It was the sound of melancholy, of late-night drives, of dreams just out of reach. Then the drums kicked in, not with a bang, but with a steady, determined heartbeat. The bass followed, laying a foundation that was both solid and somber. When the singer's voice finally came through, it wasn't a powerhouse vocal you'd expect on a show like this. It was raw, it was raspy, and it was trembling with genuine emotion. He sang about feeling invisible, about screaming into the void and hearing only silence in return. The lyrics were poetic and painfully honest, painting a vivid picture of loneliness and despair. You didn't just hear the words, you felt them. You felt the cold floors of empty apartments, the sting of watching friends succeed, while you were left behind, the quiet desperation of wondering if you'd ever find your place in the world. As the first chorus hit, the energy shifted. The music swelled, becoming more intense, more urgent. The singer's voice rose with it, no longer trembling, but filled with a defiant strength. The harmony from the other band members joined in, creating a rich, layered sound that was both heartbreaking and hopeful. It was the sound of fighting back, of refusing to be broken. The drummer played with a passion that was incredible to watch. Each hit a release of pent-up frustration and a declaration of survival. The guitarist, lost in the music, moved across the stage as if possessed by the melody he was creating. The judges, who had initially looked skeptical, were now completely captivated. You could see the change on their faces. They leaned forward, their usual critical expressions replaced by a look of awe and deep empathy. The audience in the theater was silent, hanging on every single note. The camera panned across the crowd, and you could see tears streaming down people's faces. It was a shared experience, a collective moment of understanding. Everyone in that room, and everyone watching at home, could relate to that feeling of being an underdog, of fighting a battle no one else could see. The song's bridge was the emotional peak. The music stripped back again, becoming quiet and intimate. The singer's voice dropped to almost a whisper as he sang about finding a flicker of light in the darkest of times. He sang about the friend who stays, the small kindness that changes everything, the inner voice that refuses to give up. He looked directly at his bandmates, and in that moment, the entire story became clear. This wasn't just a band, it was a family. They had saved each other. It was a powerful, unspoken thank you that resonated more deeply than any lyric could. Then came the final, explosive chorus. It was a full-on anthem. The lights on stage flashed, the music soared to a crescendo, and the singer poured every last ounce of his being into that final performance. His voice cracked with emotion, but it didn't matter. In fact, it made it even more real, more powerful. It was a guttural cry of victory, a declaration that they had made it through the fire and come out stronger. They weren't just playing a song, they were living it on that stage, sharing their entire journey of pain and perseverance in just a few minutes of music. When the final note faded, a profound silence fell over the entire auditorium. It was a sacred, breathless moment that lasted for what felt like an eternity. No one moved. No one spoke. The band stood there, exhausted and emotionally drained, chests heaving. And then, the eruption. The audience leaped to their feet, cheering, applauding, and crying. The noise was deafening. It wasn't just polite applause. It was a raw, visceral reaction from people who had been profoundly moved. The judges were also on their feet, wiping away tears, clapping with a sincerity you rarely see. One by one, the judges tried to speak, but they struggled to find the words. One of them, known for his tough-as-nails critiques, was visibly choked up. He simply sighed. "In all my years of doing this, I've never seen anything like that. That wasn't a song. That was a life. That was truth." Another judge echoed the sentiment, saying, "You made every single person in this room feel seen. You reminded us what music is all about. It's about connection. It's about sharing our humanity." The band members just stood there, tears of relief and gratitude streaming down their faces, huddled together, supporting each other just as they had done for years. This performance went on to become one of the most watched clips in the history of talent shows. It went viral not because of a gimmick or a shocking twist, but because of its unvarnished honesty. It reminded everyone that true art comes from the heart. It showed that vulnerability is a superpower, and that our struggles don't define us. Our response to them does. This band didn't win the competition that season, but in a way, they won something much bigger. They won the hearts of millions and created a moment that will be remembered for decades to come. Their story serves as a powerful reminder to all of us. Never give up on your passion, trust in your journey, and know that your voice, your story, deserves to be heard. Thank you so much for joining me to revisit this incredible moment. What did you think of their performance? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you and miss our next deep dive into unforgettable moments in music. See you next time.